would need to let you go. That's how hard I had to breathe for my chest not to explode. Faith needs to be your currency. 3 hours commute every day with a 5.5-month-old baby, and I was only able to last in that role for 8 weeks before I got kicked out. No, I didn't just leave. Forget all these gurus talking to you now about, oh, if you open a business you can make 50 million in 2 days. Excuse you. Unless you're like already a public figure. The fact that there was zero sales, zero everything for almost 3 months on my store, and somebody found me out and placed an order. Mind blown. Okay guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be, let's close this information. Okay, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be doing something a bit different today. One question I get asked so much is, how did I start my business? So it's an African print inspired clothing brand. We make clothes for adults and for children, so mostly women, but we have some men's outfits and outfits for kids. So I thought I would have a chat and we'll just talk through how the business started, how it's going, and everything else in between. And watch till the end of the video because I've got some tips and tricks of what you can do to also, like, you can use to implement your business. Okay, so this whole journey, I'm going to be packing some orders because I've got UPS coming soon. So I'm going to be packing some things while we're having a chat, just so we can be multitasking, but I'll try to also look at the camera in between time. Right, let me just quickly print this item. I might even send it to print. Okay, so this whole journey started back in 2013. So I got my first, before that happened, so I used to work with a hotel in Salford. I'm not going to mention the name of the hotel. And I had some work colleagues, and one of them, she was so fashion inclined. She actually has a clothing brand with one of the other girls that I worked with at the time. She actually has a clothing brand now. She's in Botswana. So at the time she mentioned about going for African Fashion Week in London. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I've always wanted to go for one of them, London Fashion Week. So we got tickets, we went together. This was in 2013. I saw so many clothes and designs. I'm like, oh, this is really, really nice. So I thought, why not do something like this? Because I actually also wanted to get I also wanted to start like a fashion blog and just like post things, make things and post them, or order things, wear them, style them, post them. But obviously ordering things to actually start a fashion blog can be quite pricey. So I also thought, oh, maybe I can make some of them myself. So after I went for this African Fashion Week in London, I decided to get myself a sewing machine, which I did. So I got myself a sewing machine, and don't laugh, but this is serious. It took me, no jokes, 2 hours at least to figure out how to actually thread the machine. Right, YouTube wasn't very popular back then, and if it was, it wasn't something I would usually go to check how to thread a sewing machine, because those are not like very popular topics. I mean, this was 2013, so that was 11 years ago, and I didn't realize I could do that. Quite embarrassing, but we got there in the end. So I drove all the way to my friend's house, and I'm like, you need to help me. So she shredded the machine for me and just showed me a few things. I just checked what she was doing, because I think she was like making a dress or something, and it looked really, really nice. So fast forward from then, I got into the whole sewing thing. I used to go for sewing classes on the weekends. Now I worked a corporate full-time 9 to 5 job, so the only time I had to do anything sewing was in the evenings or at the weekends. And I absolutely loved this newfound hobby. Like, I was obsessed with my sewing. So I started going for like evening lessons to learn how to sew. And then I jumped on YouTube, because then I found that I could actually do some DIY sewing on YouTube. So I learned some things on YouTube as well. And a few months later, maybe a month or few years, whatever later, I went to University of Arts London for 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks, I only learned how to make a skirt. I know, I think that's what the course was, learn how to make a skirt, but other intricate things you could learn. And it was quite an informative course, but having to go all the way to London every Saturday. Okay, so I found some pictures from my blog from when I went to University of Arts London. So I just thought I would plug it in. And yeah, this is when I went to UAL. I think it was Saturday and Sunday, or only Saturday, from Manchester every week for 6 weeks. Shows a lot of dedication. I didn't believe I did that, but absolutely enjoyed that whole journey and the process. Like, when I was going, I didn't get on the train because the train was so expensive for me. So I got on the coach. This was 4 or 5 hours going, 4 or 5 hours coming, and then learning. It was amazing. I absolutely, like, thinking back at it in hindsight, absolutely enjoyed that journey. So after that, I got into my whole sewing. Like, at this time, when I said I was working a full 9 to 5, I was working as a contractor. So that means where you get a contract. So say contracts, I was in IT field, so it was like not really a tech BA, but a business analyst, mostly in IT related fields. So if we're doing like system upgrades, or if we're doing like process, whatever, you get what I mean. So when I'm in between contracts, I would like just focus, zone in on the whole sewing thing. And sometimes I do like travel to Nigeria. In case you did not know, I'm Nigerian, from Akwa Ibom State. I did go to Nigeria one of the times to actually learn how to sew. So when I went there, my brother introduced me to some guy that sewed for him. I'm supposed to be doing things while I'm having this discussion, but my brain doesn't know how to multitask. Anyway, so when I went to Nigeria, so this was for 8 weeks. I'm supposed to print, I'm not supposed to print, not download. So when I went for 8 weeks to Nigeria, he introduced me to this guy, and he started teaching me like basic, because at this time I'd like consumed a lot of YouTube content. I'd gone for a lot of classes on learning how to sew. I think I was also signed up to a course membership, which I didn't really follow through, but I was signed up to that to like help me with the whole sewing journey. So all of this just kind of equipped me. I did make a few clothes and I blogged about it, and my blog name at the time was, what are you doing? It's printing like multiple pages. So my blog name, which is still active, but I've not really posted anything in years, it's Adventure Meets Designer. Adventure A meets Designer D, M-A-D. You see where I'm going? Okay, so my blog name was Adventure Meets Designer. I used to make clothes and post it on there. The first set of clothes I made, woo, girl, they were awful. I mean, they're awful, man. But then that's with like every craft. When you start doing something, your first few items are really crappy. It's just nice to go back and look at these things every now and then. But yeah, my first set of outfits they're not the best, but I was quite proud that I was putting in the work. And then when I get into contracts, I would just carry on sewing in the evenings. Anyways, so in 2015, I started getting people asking, oh, could you make clothes for me? Like when I go to church and I want something I made, I'm like, oh, maybe I can actually do some of these things. So I actually made someone's prom dress. I think it was 2015 or 2016. I actually made a prom dress. Then I also used patterns. I used quite a lot. I have like so many patterns. So I made someone's prom dress. I made a few outfits. There was someone's outfit I tried making. I think I ruined that outfit. I mean, there are times like that happened. That's what happens. It's part of the craft. It's part of the craft. Anyway, so then I used to, like, people would usually come for me to measure them, and then I'll make the outfits. I knew very quickly that that's not what I wanted to do. I like interacting with people, but I don't want to have to be forced to interact with you because I'm making something for you. Especially, obviously, I've just finished working a 9-to-5 full-time job. I really do not want to spend my evenings chatting all evening, because that's the only time I have to like sit down and think, or sit down and not do anything, or sit down and like improve on my hobby, skill, crafts. Anyway, so after then I knew that straight away not what I wanted to do, so I decided to make a few skirts. Like, then I was a sucker for making skirts. I love. So this is one of the first set of skirts I made, and when I made an Etsy store, this was the very first skirt I sold. After making skirts, I had so many skirts, like even till now, some of the skirts I made at the time, my daughter still wears some of them till now. The skirts they've lived many lives, honestly. Absolutely love them. Okay, so I started making skirts. I thought, okay, maybe I would open. I found out about Etsy at the time as well, so I thought I would open an Etsy site and just start selling this thing and see how it goes. So November 2025, November of 2015 was when I opened my Etsy store, and it was just my friends at the time that used to model for me, so it was all free work. And I'm so glad I had those people in my life at the time for that phase of my journey. And I did model quite a lot of my pieces, because I think I really do rock my outfits very well, if I do say so myself. So I got some of them to model for me. I got a friend photographer to take some pictures. Actually, no, I took the pictures myself, thinking about it now. So the first, there was a black skirt, a white skirt, and a few other outfits. I remember taking those pictures myself, because the camera I used to take pictures for my blog, I used those cameras to take the pictures. Yes, and I edited them myself. Oh my god, like, just thinking about it now is so nice to relive those memories. Anyway, so I posted them on what's that place called, Etsy. Now, I did not make any sale till the 24th of January 2016. Like, I actually remember the date, but I looked it up a few days ago, or a few weeks ago. I can remember my first customer, but I don't want to mention their names. And some of my customers from Etsy actually did move them over to my Shopify site, because I copied and pasted all their emails. I know I did that because I needed those emails to move on to my website, but this is story for later on in this video. Keep listening or keep watching. If you've not subscribed and you're enjoying the story so far, click the subscribe button. Okay, so I made my first sale January 2024. When I heard ticking, what's that sound? I think that's what it says. I was so, if you know excitement, oh my god, I'm like, wait, hang on a second. Someone that doesn't know me, and I didn't have any sale at all. You know, now they'll say, oh, you can place a few orders on your store website just so you can get more social proof. I know things have changed from then till now, and whatnot, but the fact that there was a zero sale, zero everything for almost 3 months on my store, and somebody found me out and placed an order, mind blown. I was so excited, so excited. That was the quickest order I made. I made it the night. As soon as I got home, I made the order and I shipped it out the very next day. Now, all the orders I was getting at the time, it was a made to order. We didn't have like things made and kept, obviously, because I was the one doing all the sewing. So I usually make all the clothes myself. I made them, and during my lunch break, I would go look for a post office and ship them off to their new customers. So after January, I think I didn't get an order for like a week or two after, and then they just slowly started trickling in. So this was in 2016, and we just carried on like that, working full-time and doing this clothing thing on the side because it was still a hobby. I was still doing my blogging as well. So at some point I thought, let me just do a few more things. So I opened a Shopify. Okay, no. Let me go back just a bit. So in 2018, I had my first daughter. Well, I had my first child in August of 2018. And in between times, if I'm like really busy, or if I'm doing other things, or if I travel to a different country, or if I'm on holiday, I tend to put my Etsy store on holiday, because obviously I can't make and fulfill items when I'm not there. So 2018, or before I gave birth, I put my Etsy store on holiday for a really long time, even till after I gave birth, because obviously as a new mom, first time mom, it was really stressful having to do anything. And also at this time I had moved to a few different locations. I'd worked in Bristol. Well, the last two roles I did, before I gave birth, I was working in Bristol. Had worked in Milton Keynes as well. So it's just really stressful, like contracting and also looking after a baby, especially when some of the contracts are not. It's not like now where you're working from home. That privilege wasn't really there at the time. Anyway, so when I had the baby in 2018, I was on holiday for a long time. So I went back into contracting in January. This was five and a half months after giving birth. Now, when I tell you this was the most stressful period of my life, no jokes. Ooh! And why it was really stressful is it was not just the contract, it was in Leeds. So I was staying in Manchester and having to drive to Leeds, an hour and a half going and an hour and a half coming back. So that's 3 hours commute every day with a 5.5 months old baby. And that was the first time I was being a mom. It feels like now when I'm like a pro after 3 kids, I could easily wing it. Well, maybe not. It's still going to be stressful. So I was not like getting enough sleep, and I was still breastfeeding, and I was still trying to wing this new mom life. I'm like, I don't want to ever put myself in this position again. Before I have any other child, I need to figure this corporate job working. Either I'll go permanent or I do my business full time. One of them had to happen. So I was only able to last in that role for 8 weeks before I got kicked out. No, I didn't just leave. Okay, so I don't know, I think they just said the contract was ending or something. There was just the news, and I'm like, and this has happened before. The last time I was in a contract, this was when I was in Bristol. I'd gotten a contract I got a place for a year. The contract was supposed to last for a while, and then they said the clients had issues with budget and whatnot, so the contract had to end. I mean, they gave me a day notice. But that's the thing with contracting. Sometimes, depending on what your contract says, they can give you a day notice, a week's notice, whatever. But this was, woo, Charlie, it wasn't easy. Anyways, 8 weeks down the line, and I had enough. Like, if I'd continued on that role for up to 3 months, I probably would have broken down. No jokes. Anyway, so I start doing go back into doing my business. I took it a bit more serious. So 2019, I decided to have my first ever pop-up, and the pop-up was in London. So I found some pictures from when I did the pop-up. So one of my models did take some of this for me, and I'm so excited to actually see it again. Oh my god. Now this pop-up story, I think I need to make a separate video for that pop-up, because there were so many things I'm supposed to have done that I did not do, and I don't think it went as good as I would have hoped that it went. I didn't do my homework, to be honest. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm going to take responsibility. I actually had a target goal of how much I wanted to make in that pop-up. I just about broke even with all the logistics, with like getting things and all of that, all the rails, all the mannequins, and everything I needed for that pop-up. I just about broke even though I didn't do much, which, thinking about it now, I'm like, if I just put like a little bit more effort, it would have really gone amazing. So let me just chip this in. Next year, 2025, I'm going to be doing a pop-up sometime in June. Dates and location to be confirmed. I've got a event plan I'm working with this time. I'm going to go into the venue myself. I'm going to be doing everything, not myself as doing everything, but I'm going to be full on, all hands on deck, like in it. I will check the venue out. I'll also try and be posting updates just so you can come along on the journey. Anyway, so back to the pop-up. I had a pop-up in 2018, broke even. It was just okay. Sorry, 2019. So I just carried on with the business, and then 2020, like we all know, COVID happened. At this time, I was working a contract role as well. Now the role was supposed to last another eight months to 1 year, and I can remember very vividly June of 2020. I remember my line manager at the time, because we're all working from home at the time. I started my YouTube channel as well, not this one, but I have another YouTube channel which I'm going to dedicate more to everything else that is in M.A.Dkollection related. So I started this YouTube channel. I'd gotten back into posting frequently on my M.A.Dkollection business page, because I had an Instagram page and everything else. So I remember him ringing and saying, oh, we need to have a call. This was on a Friday afternoon. Like, I remember it very vividly. And like, so we're having a bit of a budget issue, obviously, because of the current climate and the uncertainty with everything that's happening in the world, obviously with COVID happening at the time. Would need to let you go. That's how hard I had to breathe for my chest not to explode. You're kidding me, man. I mean, this was right in the middle of a global pandemic where I did not know what was going to happen. Like, the job market everywhere like went downhill first before people started recruiting. So this was the downhill moment. I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to do with myself now? And there was no backup. Guys, I need to plug this in. Do not rely on one source of income. Never, like, no. If you read the Bible, it does say sow your seed in the morning and the evening, because you do not know which one would reap a harvest. I will put the Bible passage somewhere on the screen so you can go check it out. If you do not read the Bible, I'm sorry, but I just had to plug that in. Actually, I'm not sorry, but I just had to plug that in. So I'm like, no, not again. I was so downcast. I was stressed out of my mind. At this time, I had a child to look after. I had myself to look after. Woo, Charlie. Anyways, I took it in the week after my contract ended. I took some time off, because when I say I took some time off, I mean I went off all social media platforms. I was still posting like videos and stuff on my M.A.Dkollection Instagram page, but it was really slow because at this time I was doing everything myself. I was so stressed out of my mind because I did not know what the next move was. Anyways, I took all this time off. In October of that same 2020, I traveled to Nigeria for a few weeks. At this time, I went for a photo shoot with my brother because I was like, I'm going to take this business like full time now. That's it. I'm tired of playing small and then just doing it off and on when I need to. So I really needed to take it a bit more seriously. So I took it a bit more seriously. I did a photo shoot in Nigeria, in Lagos to be precise. So I just showed the clips of the video from when we landed, and this is some of the images that I took with the models and everybody else. I've forgotten where it is, but went somewhere. So it was me, the models, the photographer, and a few other people went to this place. I got rooms for everyone for that weekend. It was really nice. I went with my daughter as well. So we just stayed there, did the shoots and everything else. I came back to the UK in November before the next lockdown began, and I literally just said doing everything. I did my first major photo shoot and I loved it. Ooh. Okay, so this is the first photo shoot I did after we came back from Nigeria and after I decided to take my brand forward. Loved it. So this was in 2020. The house I was living in, all the orders I was doing was all in the house, like in the living room. So I had a room where I had all my stock in, and like my whole house was full of everything related to M.A.Dkollection. So this is like the entrance to my room. So you come through the door. It is quite... kind of tidied it as much as I can. 2021, I got pregnant for my second child, and I got one of my models to work for me at the time, which was really good. Like, she was so helpful. So this was still in my former house. At the end of 2021, I moved to this space. So this is a picture of my almost empty space when we first started and trying to arrange the stock into the shelves, as you can see. And this space. So I gave birth September of 2021. At this time, I was doing M.A.Dkollection full time. I mean, there was no breaks, no time off. I did not go on holiday for any reason. Now, the reason why I decided to go all in and do it full time was two things. First of all, I didn't want to be in a position where someone will wake up and say, oh, your contract is ending, or oh, your role, you've been made redundant and stuff. I wanted to be able to control that aspect of my life by myself, because I wanted to be responsible for my finances and everything that happens in between. So that was one. The second one was all those obviously being in and out of contracts. It wasn't steady source of income, and it was really stressful, especially when you've got kids. You know how expensive kids can be sometimes. So even when I came back in November of 2020 from Nigeria, I did try applying for a permanent role. Not like I did not try. Honestly, I did try applying for a permanent role. I applied for like so many roles. I know like job hunting is like a full-time job on its own. I think this was just God giving me a sign, but I did not want to take it. my coconut head did not want to take it. So I applied for so many roles, and one of the role I was so sure I'd gotten this role because I'd done exactly what the job description was about, what I was going to be doing. I had done exactly that in one of my previous roles. I was so sure I was going to get the job, and they came back. So this is a copy of the email I responded back to when they came back to say I wasn't going to be fit for the role. Like, it's quite a long, lengthy email. I can't even believe I sent this email, but I really just wanted to get my feelings into the email and just let it out there. I'm going to put an email, whatever, what he said when they came back. I know I'm going to cut out all the vital information. They said they don't think I would want to stay on the role. I'm like, you're kidding me now. I applied for the role because I was going to stay. What are you talking about? So they did not offer me this position because they thought because I've contracted for too long, I wasn't going to be in the role for like long enough. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, explain. Oh, I've got a child now, so I don't want to be like jumping around contract, trying to explain all of that, but it did not fly. I remember actually sending an email to the hiring manager and everybody else and just copying people in. I'm like, sorry I had to do this. I've never had to do this before, but I just wanted to let you know how upset I am. I'm not sure I had to go doing that, but I'm going to leave all of that information on the screen somewhere. Okay, so after the time, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, and I knew that I was going to be doing my business full time. I was not waiting anymore. I'd had enough. Anyway, so 2021, fast forward again, 2021. I started doing everything full time. I had people that was working for me at the time. I had a tailor that was now making all the outfits. So I would usually design the outfits myself. So if I'm doing like a collection, I would design the collection myself, create a sample piece, see how it fits, and then the tailor would. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention while saying the tailor was, you know, when I mentioned earlier in the video that I went to Nigeria for 8 weeks to learn how to sew. Now, the person that taught me how to sew at that time was now the person doing all the production for the brand. So when I do the samples, he does the mass production. So it just worked out really well. Just mass produce everything. So that's what I was doing, and it just got easy because then I didn't need to take any more time off. There are people helping me fulfill orders when I'm not there. So it was just really, really good at this time. And this was 2021 was my first full-time year, but currently 2024, so much has happened. When I tell you I have made mistakes, at this point I should be wearing a crown of mistake making because guys, there's so much mistakes I've made, and I'm like, how did I not know about this? Was there no someone to talk to me about this? I haven't really got like anyone I know that runs a business like I'm currently doing, so it was so hard to like try and figure everything out myself. So 2 things I'm going to leave you with, but I'm going to do a separate video going into detail about this. 2 things I'm going to leave you with. When you start running a business, come closer, know your numbers. I mean, know your numbers. I cannot tell you how much this not knowing my number has cost me. Like, it's almost cost me, it literally cost me the business. But I'm not going to go into that detail because obviously we're online. But if you want to know that information, you have to speak to me directly. Anyways, I'm going to cut this part out, but if I do not, woo! Yes, know your numbers, guys. Know your numbers. Very important. Know your numbers. Next thing you need to be able to do is manage your time. Apart from even managing your time, you have to be your own best cheerleader. especially if you're doing the business by yourself. It's not like you've got like a business partner and stuff. If you're doing it yourself, sometimes you just feel like not doing anything. Sometimes you not even want to adult. You have to be able to be disciplined enough to pick yourself up and do what you need to do or what you have to do. So consistent, even when it's not looking like anything is happening. Forget all these gurus talking to you now about, oh, if you open a business you can make 50 million in 2 days. Excuse you. Unless you're like already a public figure or something, the chances, that's why statistics say the amount of businesses that fail in the first year is like that high. I don't know the information on statistics. You need to Google it to find that information. The one that failed in the first 5 years is this high. The one, I mean, if everybody was doing so well, why is there so much failure? Because that's what one thing people do not talk about. Why is there so much failure? Because all we see online are people that have gotten 250,000 in 10 minutes. I'm not saying it cannot happen. It can happen, but it does take time. You can't just open a business today and no one even knows you exist, and then you're making 50 million in 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Anyway, so those are 2 things I just wanted to point out. Know your numbers and just be consistent. Even if it looks like nothing is happening, just keep pushing, because it all takes time. And in the end, if you're crossing all your I's and dotting all your T's, it's going to work out. And as I was going to say 2 things. Third thing, and the most important of everything I'm going to say today here, is just trust God. Faith needs to be your currency. Faith. Like, you need to work by faith and not by sight. That's all you need to, like, because God, he's just awesome. He's just awesome. He's just awesome. You have to know God for yourself. You have to have a relationship with him. It has to be the center of everything you're doing. The center of your business, the center of your life, everything. It has to be the beginning and the ending. Okay guys, so just so this video is not too long, which I'm guessing it already is, because I can feel my throat drying out already. I'll try and make sure it's not too long. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content. I found some value and you've finally gotten an answer to that question, how did you start? Hopefully you enjoy the content of the video. If you have, you know what to do. Like, subscribe and turn on the bell notification so when I post any upcoming videos you get notified, and I will see you guys in the next one. So this is the last item I'm doing, and then I'll need to go put my kids to sleep. So on Fridays my 2 sons don't go to nursery, they stay home with me, but my daughter goes to school. So yeah, that's it for me guys.